What's going on, guys? What's up? Good afternoon for me, evening or morning for a lot of you. Thanks so much for joining in. I'm about to bring Kryptman into the scene, but I wanted to first just give a huge shout out and thank you to all of you, VIP and Elite, who've been minting with us. A lot of you watching on a replay, you probably, this is all long gone, but for those of you checking in on the action right now, it's been super cool to see everybody just kind of all the energy within the core of our community. And so we want to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of you. And certainly hope this energy continues over the next day or two. If you're in Discord, could you please let everybody know in the general chat that we're live on YouTube right now, so we can get as many views as we can. Also give us a thumbs up and a like. It's helpful in the algorithm. And I know Kryptman made an announcement over there on Discord, but I want to make sure that anyone who's just jumping into Discord, you know, if you just post it now and then throughout this live to make sure that everybody knows we're up here. So I'll go ahead and bring Kryptman in. Hopefully, yes, there we go. And I have names today.
Hey, let's go. Incremental progress, right? Just a little bit better every day.
Yes, definitely. Progress is good. So how you doing, man?
Not bad, my guy, not bad. I threw in 3 of my 9 VIP mints, and 1, got some pretty decent pulls, and 2, dear God, was it fast. It was actually 30 seconds, and everything was there. I want to say in the first, 10 minutes of the mint, we put out 200 new assets, no problem. Easy.
Yeah.
Shout out to NFT Maker Pro, making it easy for us.
Super fast. I mean, when I was airdropping the business plots this morning, they were just like instant. You know, the second the address went in, it was gone. Love seeing that. Well, we'll talk about that, the Cardano here in a little bit. But first of all, I want to introduce us. My name is Eric, ProsperianX on the screen. You can see there, project creator for Prosperia. And we have Kryptman here as well, who is comms director and Lord of the Marbles, and so many other. He's a jack of all trades, man. He's organizing art behind the scenes now. He's doing all kinds of stuff. So
throwing together little secret collections and things, you know.
Yeah,
we gotta keep it interesting.
Yeah, marble scans, all kinds of stuff. So we're going to be doing a weekly. Either he or I or both of us will be doing a weekly live stream on the YouTube channel here and cover everything under the sun, anything that comes up, any other projects that we want to talk to project creators, people who just know the blockchain really well, whatever we think might be interesting for that week. So even though we did a live stream last night, today I think is probably our maiden broadcast here from the Prosperian Broadvasting Center. So welcome, you guys. That's an intro to who we are. Did I miss anything?
I think we're good, my guy. I love the PBC. I love the Prosperian Broadvasting Center, and that was a community thing. That was a community-driven poll. We put it up in lore chat. We were like, all right, guys, we need a name for this place, because it's going to be a thing. We're going to be doing this weekly, probably multiple times, which, it's really manifested into that. We do the YouTube, we're doing Twitter, which usually that's what we would be doing right now, but because this is kind of a special event, we've brought it over here, make it a little bit more fun. We've got the Twitch streams that we do, so the Prosperian Broadvasting Center is really becoming quite a thing. There's quite an organization happening there. I can't wait for the first person to approach us and be like, I want to do a Prosperia show or whatever. Be like, I have this idea. I want to do a Prosperian cooking show. It's all right, the BBC is interested in this. So
and you're not. I mean, you're kind of having fun there, but you're not really exaggerating. We really, I think months ago, envisioned putting out just a ton of content, and the only reason it hasn't happened is because there's just been so much going on over the last couple of months. But the Prosperia Broadvasting Center, like you said, Twitter Spaces, Marbles is actually communication outlet. I know it's fun. Everybody get their marbles in and try to win prizes and stuff, but it's also a place where we can discuss Prosperia. A lot of it's BS, this and that, but that's a valuable outlet as well. We have our website that's going to start having like news release type stuff coming out. We have our docs.prosperia.space, which has an enormous amount of information with a lot more coming. So every week there's
white paper on the docs.
Yeah. So every week there should be a ton of content flowing out of the Prosperia project. And I think this will be the biggest piece. So anyway, enough on that. Thank you guys so much for joining. As we get into discussions here, and we don't really have an agenda, to be honest with you, we're right smack in the middle of a mint. So we'll talk about that. I want to talk about multi-passes as well. But if you have your own questions and your own topics, make sure you leave them here on YouTube. If you could put them on Discord, I don't know that we're going to catch them, but certainly I'm looking at comments here on YouTube. YouTube is a little bit
multiple places.
Okay, so we got 4 eyes on it. So try and drop those in there and we'll get into it. So today is VIP Mint Day. Yesterday was Elite Mint Day. This is not relevant in terms of times for those watching a replay, but for those who don't know, Kryptman, what is Elite and VIP? What does that even mean?
For sure. So those are designations for our multi-passes. You got the 3 tiers. You got your standard, you got your elite, your VIP, and then your elite. Those entitle you to things like early minting windows, as we're experiencing right now. So elite obviously gets you the earliest minting window. Those are the yellow passes that are out there. VIP typically follows a day or 2 afterward. This time we're doing like 24-hour windows, which I feel is working really well, by the way. I think that's great. Then we got standard, which is just after that. And then we'll typically go into like our public mints and things. This time around for Zeppelin Moon, we're actually lucky enough to get a super cool bonus drop for minting in the elite window, adding just a little bit of utility to those, a little extra utility to those, where we get a business plot for having minted in the VIP or in the elite window using an elite pass. So I mean, it's just an example of how easy it is to add additional utility to those. Yeah, they're a whitelist token and they're dope. Everybody should go check them out.
Yeah, and multi-passes have been incredible holding value. Absolutely incredible. I don't think our floor has ever been below mint.
No. Nope. It sure has not.
So
one interesting thing that I kind of take from that is that, like, even when Zeppers dipped some, and it happens, the multi-passes didn't really. And what that tells me is that even if people aren't necessarily into the thing that we're doing at that second in time, because Zeppers aren't going to be for everybody, you know what I mean? But that means that people have interest in what we're doing in the future, because they have that future utility. They have those future whitelist cases. They have that, future drip of Prosper, whatever it is. So it really tells me that people are interested in what we're doing long term, and that just warms up my cold, dead little heart.
Yeah, and if you're watching this right as we're minting Zeppelin Moon plots, man, go tag one of those multi-passes if you don't have one, because right now is a good time to get into it. And like you said, the multi-pass always has new value being added to it. In fact, we just, you may have brushed on it, but we just introduced the Prosper token drops coming to the multi-passes. So here in a few weeks, towards the end of this month, if you're holding multi-passes, you'll start seeing Prosper tokens dropped into the wallets that have those multi-passes. So there's just always something good going with those. Not just the value on secondary. I mean, I'm seeing elite multi-passes sell all the time for 6, 7, 8, 900 ADA, which is incredible for something that minted for 35. So,
yeah, especially in that like real hot period before our mints that always heats up, and then you'll kind of get that dip right after, which is a great time to accumulate if you're kind of new to the project, or if you're an existing person who just wants to pile on and get a little bit extra next time.
Yeah, Feral Dutchman, which is Bjorn, says it means bragging rights if you have an elite. Yes, and I finally got an elite a couple weeks ago. I was waiting with the VIP club, which I love the VIP club, love the standard club. I got them all, but finally joined the elite club a few weeks ago, and it was nice to be able to jump in yesterday and met with you guys.
That was such a must for me so early on. Like, had to have an elite, and I bought two of them on mint day. Actually, right as people were paper handing them out, I grabbed up two of them real quick, and I gotta say, it has been just absolutely worthwhile to have those. Both minting
Yeah.
windows, so nice. Bonuses for both, so nice.
Oh, and huge discounts in minting. I mean, right now you're at what,
Absolutely.
28 or less for both elite and VIP. So that's great. I mean, the discount is so good that Kryptman thought we had the price wrong on the VIP.
Yeah, I was like, are we okay? Let's go.
Yeah. So speaking of Moon Mint, the business plots dropped. Well, half of them dropped today, a little over half. I think I got to 107. Those dropped to the elite multipass holders who minted, and those are, I think, are probably going to be the rarest plots on the moon. We haven't really completely organized and structured the business plots in District 8. I think the more central on the supernova mile that those business plots are, probably the more desirable they'll be. So I think there will be some desirability built into the business plots as well. But I think they're by far and large going to be the most desirable plots because of their utility. In that not all businesses, but a lot of businesses based on the moon have built-in Prosper. I have to be careful with my words here.
Prosper Faucet.
Benefits. um, like Mando's is a perfect example, right? Mando's gets royalties off the races. So, in fact, all the builders get royalties off the races, but Mando sees the most royalties off the races. So those are very interactive with the economy and the ecosystem. So they're going to end up having their own extremely rare qualities, but then a lot of the large plots and even medium, all the plots are going to have varying degrees of value. But in those large plots, especially District 1, there's only 12 of them. In District 1 medium, I think there's only like, I want to say 60. So someone was asking, 62 and then 175 small in District 1. Someone was asking which is more rare, business plots or large. It kind of can be both. I don't think you could look at large plots or business plots and say in a blanket statement, one is more rare than the other. You're going to find some more rare within both. I mean, only having 12 large plots in Epic Dome Lake is pretty damn rare. But there may be 12 business plots at the very heart and soul of Supernova Mile in District 8 that are just as rare as well.
Just right there on the main drag, like right after you come out of the spot that you land in the main, because traffic is a big thing, right? Like that's what you want is those areas. It's just like in real life, the area where you have the most traffic, the most throughput, the most activity. Because although the plots present as very simple, because they only have 3 traits on them, the ending location is going to be extremely important, as we see in real life in other metaverse projects and whatever or other land projects, I should say, whatever it is. So although it seems simple now, we see people dumping stuff, and it's like you guys have no idea. It's like you don't know.
Yeah.
I'm content to sit here and watch people do what they're gonna do, and it's just like everything else. The people who take that chance, like some of them are really gonna come up on some great opportunities and locations and things. The business plots being 200, and there are fewer overall business plots than there are large plots, right? But there are lesser numbers of large plots when you break them up into their districts. So like you said, you can have a rarer business than you do a large plot, but they have very different utilities too, so it's not even like a one-to-one comparison. I don't know, I think people are underestimating kind of what's going on because they seem very simple.
Yeah, and a perfect example of that is Bjorn Crater. So Bjorn Crater is District 3. And I think it's about 15% of those plots are actually inside the crater. The bulk of those plots are outside the crater and in the surrounding area around the crater. Inside the crater is infrastructure for the district. So the most desirable are going to be inside the crater. So you may look at District 8 and think, well, there's 875 small plots. I'm minting small plots in District 8. This is crap. I'm throwing them all to the floor. But if you're right there around Supernova Mile, then you're going to have that desirability to be, the same how the businesses that are more centralized are going to have more desirability. It's the same for residences. So don't see a small, it's like I said in Discord, I got 3 mediums and a small. Today I got 1 medium and 2 smalls. But I'm happy with all of them. They're all going to be, they're all going to be fun and have some value to it. So we're sitting here talking about business plots and large plots because I think as degens, we all want that golden goose. But really at the end of the day, don't look at a plot and think, well, this is crap, because I think it's going to be fun as we slowly reveal some of the attachment and features and location of where all these plots are. I think as time unravels, you're going to see more desirability and more rarity added to those plots. So everything is relevant and everything could be good. Can smaller neighboring plots be put together to form larger ones? No, they can't. See what else. Make sure we don't miss anything. Darth Maul in the house. By the way, shout outs. Lando asked that question. We got Lando, Randy, Donahue. I want to say Donahue, but I think that's Donahue. Frack all y'all. Love it. That makes me think frag out.
Makes me think frag rock.
But I know what you meant.
So on the note of business plots and the elite minting window and all of that, we saw about, I want to say it was like 75 to 80% of the passes activate there and then be used for minting. I know we had, what was the word you used? Some violations. We had some violations that resulted in some ineligibilities for business plots. So that was a small number. I want to say like 9 or something like that. Do you have a plan for those remaining business plots? Like, are those just all going to get dumped into the public at the end? Are they going to be, you got any?
Yeah, we're going to airdrop those. So I'm literally, hang on guys, my chair just lost, I hit the wrong lever and my chair lost its air. I'm going to go through during or after the public mint and just pick transactions and go find those addresses. So I won't even be looking for addresses, guys. I'll be looking for, you can't see the addresses in NFT Maker. You see the transaction. So you go look up the transaction. That's where you're going to get the address. So there's no picking and choosing. There's no holding no multipass will help. They're going to be airdropped to you for free. To some lucky mentors in the public mint, you'll get those business plots. So
the only thing you have to do to qualify for an airdrop of a business is mint in public. That's it.
Right. Yep.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, the game theory behind, actually, you know what? I'm not going to talk about this because I want the best possible chances of getting extra businesses. Let's just say there's going to be game theory surrounding this. Oh, man.
Yes. So it'll be absolutely as random as possible, you guys. I don't try and cheat the system or get anything to myself. I think everybody knows what my address is on. I like for you guys, I want to see you guys have them. So it'll be extremely random of going through there and finding transactions. And it doesn't matter if you met 2 or 3. Don't think if you met 10 that I'm going to go find your wallet and drop that on you. It doesn't matter at 1 or 10 or 50. That if you do 10 different transactions, that may increase your odds. just because that puts more transactions in it. But
That's what I was going to say, is that if it's every transaction is an entry, then
yeah,
it might be worth it to pull 10 times instead of pulling 10 one time.
that is true.
Uh, yeah, that's super fascinating from both like the project perspective and the community perspective, because it's just extra entries into the raffle for doing your pulls over time and like keeping the pool feed or whatever going. That's fascinating. I love it. I love how that's going to work out.
Yeah, so it's incredibly random. Which, by the way, I don't know if has anyone else gotten. I haven't been watching the. I've got it behind me over there. I haven't seen too many more large today, but we did it different this time. Where in the Zephyr Mint, we took the overall percentage of rarities and then broke each mint phase into its own project, and then uploaded the assets into each project. When I say project in NFT Maker, it's kind of technical, but you have a policy ID, and then you can create a bunch of projects for that policy ID. So right now we have 2 projects for this policy ID. One is for the 200 business plots so that you guys can't mint them before I send them. And the other is everything else, right? So in the Zephyr Mint, we had an even percentage of each rarity in each phase of the mint. In this mint, we didn't do that. We just made one big project. So everybody's pulling from the same 5,000. So it's been interesting to watch how that works, because yesterday we saw a whole bunch, it seemed comparatively a whole bunch of large plots, as opposed to today. I'm not seeing a ton of large plots, and maybe that changes, but it wasn't stacked that way. Every phase is pulling from the same 5,000. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It may end up being that there's a lot of large plots left in the public mint.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And I mean, even just the business plot thing is a great incentive to pull in public. I know those are holding up real well. I hadn't seen anybody grab one yet, but I'm sure it's bound to happen here real soon. Because even yesterday we saw large plots going for like 4, 5, 600, which was pretty cool and pretty tempting. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, someone just said there's a business plot for 789. That's very tempting.
Yeah, right.
If that's there afterwards, I may be going to grab that. It's the only 200 business plots. Lando says, I know exactly what you mean about game theory. Let's see. Maintain public is eligibility amp. Okay, so yeah, I think we're caught up on. We need one smoking synth. Yes, there will be a cigar synth, and it will be docs. Just so you guys know.
Let's go. I was going to ask about cigar docs. I love it.
Yeah, and there's actually. So I'm really thinking this through, because I'm such a. Those who listened to me talk before, I'm an absolute. I'm ape shit for Ape Society. I love Ape Society. I have no problem propping them up. I think it's an incredible project. But because I love so much what they've done with the families, instead of calling factions in the traits for the synths, I'm thinking of creating these really sort of almost bizarre, like sci-fi manufacturers of synths that are like society or guild related. And that's what the factions are. So it'd still be factions, but it won't say Federation, right? It won't say Warhammer. It'll be some weird guild or society name that is owned by Warhammer. So it's still the faction trait, but just not necessarily called the faction trait. I'm thinking of doing something like that, which also gives us some other lore in the manufacture of the synths. So you'd have 6 manufacturers. And so anyway, that's just a little side note. But yes, there will be a cigar. I'm not going to put a cigar on every synth because it just would look bizarre on some of them. But for sure, docs like it. And when someone posted Hellboy the other day with the cigar, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally docs right there. So Yeah, there definitely has to be a smoking synth. Although it wouldn't make sense that a robot would uh, smoke. Who cares?
I mean, maybe it's some kind of cigar that when he inhales, it's got some kind of crazy nano machines that come out of it, right? It's like it's more of a vape device, but it's designed to look like a cigar of old. Like they don't even know, right? Because since they never experienced that,
It's
but
true.
like
And why do
who
they have to
made
look
them,
like humans anyway? So
right? The manufacturers of them were like, okay, well, we know, it's for us, not them.
yeah,
But yeah, there's all sorts of fun stuff there and all sorts of interesting play. And that's the great thing about doing this the way that we're doing it, is that it can evolve over time.
yeah,
Like as we learn more and as we unlock more of the capabilities and as the platform that we use unlocks more of its capabilities, that just gives us more and more like interaction opportunities. It gives us more just like vectors for marketing and things like that. We're still at the very very beginning. We haven't even scratched the surface of like what we can do with our stake pool, and now we're kind of in a period between mints again. Well, we will be in a period between mints again once the land and things are done. um, we'll really have an opportunity to flesh out and explore a lot of these kind of horizontal branches like we talked about the other day. We were talking about how, as we grow upward, we are also growing outward. And I'm so excited about that. Like, that's one of the things I am the most excited about because it's the very core of Cardano. It's the very core of decentralization of the network and, us as a project trying to do what we can to further the chain. Uh, and that's just exciting to me. Like it's not even about how it looks to other people. It's exciting to me. Like I don't care. It's not for them. It's for us.
yeah. And that's a perfect segue into a question asked there by Francis, I believe. What's the pitch message for new recruits? Long term is often tough to sell in this market. So, what would you say the short term gains to get into Prosperia? Well, first of all, we didn't plan for this market when we started building our long-term project, but you're absolutely correct. Long-term is a hard sell in any market, but certainly in this market, absolutely, that is fact. Very little of what we do is built for short-term, and a lot of that, honestly, it's not comforting because as a project creator, I know what we want to do long term, and that's what the focus is. But I also really care about creating value in all terms for the community. But we do have things that are like Zeppers is absolutely a long term play. The demand for Zeppers is not going to be where we want it to be for some time. Like that's not disputable. It's inevitable that there will be a time where the supply for Zeppers cannot possibly keep up with demand. But how do you sell that in bite-sized chunks? And really, how do you sell any of Prosperia in bite-sized chunks? This is a huge story and a huge vision. But I do think Prosper Hub is probably one of those things that is going to change that quite a bit. Prosper Hub is very much a real-time scenario where appraised valuations of these NFTs that represent businesses and various utilities, resources, some of it could be art, can change day in and day out. And the value of that the decentralized community determines that the Prosper token is worth changes day in and day out. There's a lot of Prosper being moved on MusliSwap right now. Even today, this morning, there was hundreds of thousands, if not a million or more Prosper tokens moved on that DEX. So I think once we start getting our footing on those components of the project, then a lot of people are going to be able to see that and say, okay, well, this is happening now. Someone bought and sold this business for X. These tokens are being bought and sold or used to buy NFTs. That's a very almost real time, could be gains, and it doesn't necessarily have to be just financial gains. There's a lot of ways you gain from that. but that's more of the short term. Now, how does that sold? You're preaching to the choir here. Kryptman, all the team have this conversation all the time.
What is our evolving elevator pitch?
Yeah.
Because it changes, just like everything else.
And NFT marketing is hard anyway, because you can't advertise crypto related projects in any traditional manner. You can't buy Google ads. You can't buy Facebook ads. You can't do Twitter ads. In fact, Twitter just completely blocked us from having an ad account, period. Once they saw that our Twitter account is a crypto project, like they just shut we never got approved. I tried to get approved for an ad account, and they just completely closed the ad account out before we could ever spend $1. So marketing in NFTs is about networking and art. Like Smooth Yeti Mountain Club, amazing at marketing. They have people, artists that's what they do. They create marketing art all day and push that stuff out. Well, that's something we haven't had. So it's not to say that we're not going to have it. It's certainly, marketing is a huge part of the conversation here. But even when we do have it, you can't necessarily go market something that's coming next year, which a lot of our project is next year and beyond. So I think Prosper Hub is going to really help give us some real time. Hey, this is happening now. Whether there's a mint happening or not, Prosper Hub is a living, breathing economy and ecosystem utility built around our Prosper token that I think is going to help a lot. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. In the traditional marketing sense, you can't, like you said, there's very, very few places that you can like post ads and banners and things. I actually have started seeing things pop up on Reddit. The very first time that I saw an ad for a crypto project was actually Virtua, which, no surprise, they have like quadruple A budget. They're like, it is a very serious, 200 developers, 250 people on staff. It's a big, big project. So it doesn't really surprise me to like see that. In terms of marketing in the crypto space, we have certainly been upping our visibility in terms of like drop calendars. I know we're listed on WinMint now on that app. And that was actually a community initiative started by a lot of our faction leaders. They went out and got us listed on there. I actually saw that happening yesterday. And I just kind of sat back and watched. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. Because as Eric said, like networking is important and community is the absolute core of that. So we've got this really crazy grassroots thing happening right now where our factions are starting their own giveaways and Twitter accounts and all sorts of stuff and becoming almost their own like organizations. The design is that they eventually become their own like autonomous thing that handles itself and will have, great influence over what happens with the project. So it's cool to see people building that out already. In terms of like marketing collateral and art and stuff, that's another thing that we've started seeing a lot of from the community. And, we've got our artists, we've got like the trailer that came out from Akshay, which by the way, if you guys haven't seen that, hunt it down. We got to get that 4K version posted somewhere. Maybe even here would be a great place for it. Because it's just breathtaking. And it's got some pretty cool voice lines in it too, if I don't mind, if I don't say so myself. But yeah, so marketing is definitely in the forefront of our minds. But because it is such an untraditional like place, we're having to kind of come up with like new stuff for that. And I mean, that's what this is about. This is a marketing outlet. That's what Marbles is about, is a marketing outlet. Just offering the opportunity for people to see us. Because if you're not talking about it, if you're not out there, nobody's going to notice. So yeah, we're definitely always thinking about that.
And conversely, I would say that this time period has given us a real opportunity to reward the living shit out of that sort of grassroots core community. Wade posted, he says, I have won and been airdropped approximately 1,000 ADA and giveaways, marbles and trivias for just being in Prosperia. Guys, we've given away probably more than 30 to 40,000 ADA
It's a
worth
lot.
of shit. Even if you include like the war chest for the faction war, that was 10,000. And we just did a giveaway a few days ago worth 10,000 ADA. We gave away 6,000 ADA itself, and then another 3,000 or 4,000 worth of Prosper and NFTs. We've given away like 30 or 40,000 ADA to a community less than 3,000 members strong, with a core that's very active, less than 1,000 members. So it's kind of, you want to be 10, 20, 30,000 members strong. But when that happens, you had better have a good, solid, strong core community. And this kind of not inability, but slow grind and build up towards actually having a marketing campaign in place has given us the opportunity to build that core community, so that it's ready. It's ready to go for when some of the more short-term gain opportunities and gain windows that you're talking about start to come out. So. That's what I would add to that.
And we are trying to keep like that. That's the engagement drive in us, is that like we want it to be valuable time wise, because everybody's time is worth something. And you can only spend it like in so many places. I've run into an issue lately where like there were so many things that I was interested in that I was very often missing the things in the places that mattered to me the most. So I've started like really honing down my NFT collection. I've started really honing down like the Discords and things. I mean, I'm still joining new Discords because that's all part of like the networking, and everything is meeting new people and getting involved in new communities. But it's really taken a much more serious turn for me since we started doing all of this. That like, you gotta focus on stuff. You can't half-ass two things. You got to whole ass one thing, as Ron Swanson said. And I very much believe in that. So, it's flattering to us that as many people as have chosen to spend their time with us. So we want to reward those people, and we're trying to take care of our community as best we can.
Very well said. Shanky said, what's the update on tier 2 ICO after the mint, like immediately after the mint? I will tell you, though, that you can get Prosper at the same price as Tier 2 for Elite on Muesli Swap right now. So I don't want to discourage, I don't want to say buy from us and not from anyone else. Like if you want to build your bag right now, there's other Prosperians out there with Prosper tokens as well, so you can take advantage of that. At least there was this morning. I don't know if there is right now, but keep an eye on that, and you can buy it right off the exchange too.
Absolutely. And people should be buying where it makes sense to buy. We talked a little bit yesterday about how like arbitrage opportunities exist, and like understand that only means if there is like an open buy order, or once we are, I don't know exactly what the plan for getting on MinSwap and everything is, but we are looking into all of the avenues for how to make it easier to utilize your Prosper tokens. As we've said so far, we have a lot of like faucets. We have a lot of ways to like get it out into the community. We're always coming up with new ways to get it out into the community. But when we're really going to see the uptick on that is when there are things that you can redeem it for. Once we've got those syncs in place, we're going to see more, and I can't say if it's going to be positive or negative, but we're going to see more price action on it when there are ways to utilize it. That's just how it works out.
Agreed. And a big part of that, to answer part of that question on more DEXs, is we need more decentralization, and that's coming. Like that's our ICOs making that possible. The reward systems that are making that possible. With a project like ours, some of the bigger DEXs are going to look at it and say, well, you still control 260 million tokens of the 375 million.
You have all of that.
Yeah. So the more, and I said this last night, and someone was like, really? Yes. I look at that wallet that all that Prosper is in and think we need this number to be less. because the more centralized that supply is, the better it is for the project and some of the things that we can go then do with the token and getting it in bigger dexes, which opens it up to a much broader audience and a lot more ADA out there that can get involved and maybe potentially pull and do, all kinds of different swaps versus just the basic, but in a user to user swap that's happening right now. So it will happen sooner rather than later, especially after, like Kryptman just said, when you start seeing that those Prosper tokens move a lot more. And Prosper Hub will allow for that. Decentralization of the tokens will allow for that. I think you'll start to see a lot of cool things happen. See, having a great Frack all y'all says having a great community is very friendly to newcomers, helps too. Man, that is so true. Our team, we are incredibly involved in Discord, more so than most project Discords that I'm in. You'll see really good active like moderator teams, community teams, but rarely do you see those red or dark names up in the top. Like, I mean, fully engaged in Discord on a regular basis, and we are. That said,
we're so really annoying.
Yeah, but that said, it doesn't rely on us, and that's beautiful. We don't have to be there answering questions all day. Kryptman last night on the stream was talking about how the most intricate details of the lore are known by all of our core community, so they've got all the answers, and it is a very, very welcoming place. And that's what I mean by utilizing this time that's hard to market the long-term vision to really build that core community and have it in place. Let's see. Sweet.
It's been really incredible. And, our team is growing. Like, as people step up and as people prove their sort of dedication to things, like Siak became the community manager by being around all the time, being super helpful, being super friendly. And then, the opportunity arose and we needed somebody for that. And he was just the obvious choice to sort of, just keep that engagement, keep that growth, make sure somebody's around, things like that. And as we've expanded, we've tried to keep in mind that we're a global community. We are absolutely all over the planet. So having people to cover, the times when others of us might have to be dark is very important. And it's also a really good feeling as a team member and as someone responsible for a lot of communication that I know if I need to step away for a moment, or, if I've got a trip or whatever for a couple days, it's not going to fall apart because there's a network of us. It's we've decentralized the information and the support. But oh man, on the lore note, people don't just like know it; they understand it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we're at 45 minutes. So if you've got a question, get it in quick. Francis says, agreed. I'm pretty new, and I felt the love from day one, except Shanky. He's always yelling at me. That's funny, because we're always yelling at Shanky. But that is funny. And Frack all y'all says, welcome aboard. Yeah, so getting back to just kind of, I want to close this out on the Zeppelin moon. Make sure if you have a question, get it in very quick. But for those watching live VIP, you've got just under 24 hours. What is it? Yeah, 22 hours, little under 22 hours to go to mint. If you're watching on the replay, it's a strong chance you missed that. The public mint is on the 12th. The standard multi-pass whitelist is tomorrow. So make sure you guys get in there and hit that mint and watch for everything that comes immediately after. Our focus after this in our next week, it won't be so like right now we're just pimping the hell out of Prosperia and Zeppelin Moon because we're right in the midst of a mint. But I think next week, we may talk about skulls. I know nothing about skulls. We could talk about all kinds of things. I got a lot of questions for Kryptman that are not related to Prosperia because he's involved in all kinds of shit that I'm not involved in, but interest. Like you're in the like the there's like this almost like dark web of CNFT. You know what I'm talking about?
Underbelly of CNFTs.
Yeah, old money, skull ape society. You know all that. And I use dark web as kind of a joke, but there's a much different culture in some of these projects, and the
Are you calling me a degen, Eric? Because you're
I'm
right, I am.
yeah, but it's fascinating though because that culture moves together. You know, it's like a cloud of ducks headed in a during a season, and you'll see that movement from old money to ape society to all these different projects. So I think we can have a lot of fascinating conversations on the next couple of videos. But that's
Absolutely.
why this video is so heavily pushing on Prosperia, is because we're right in the midst of a mint. So
That's
let's
what's going
see.
on right now.
Shanky,
And we have a lot.
yeah, we do. Are Halians going to play a role in District 4 OSS? Yes, they are. And OSS is very receptible to some deep conversations about Zeppelin Moon. And frankly, I'm very excited to have those conversations. So I think even in the lore about that district, it says it's shrouded in mystery. And that's because it is shrouded in mystery. There's some of it that we kind of know. OSS is going to have a block of about 15 plots that are together for their community, but there's also conversations about getting much more involved. And I think that that's part of the mystery that even we don't yet know, and they don't yet know. But everybody's very open to building a much better collaboration there. So, and by the way, I did find a smoking Halion that I just bought the other day.
Let's go.
So,
You got to add to the smokers club, man. It's important. I know those feelings.
So how will mechanics be for building on plots? Will there be a pre-built assets? Pre-built for the moon, and the moon has very specific mechanics around Prosper Hub, and it's not as fluid. When we get into Prosperia starport, we definitely are going to have a lot more leeway, and I've seen in some of the kind of specs that I've been talking with the developer company with about potentially having almost like a Shark Tank like event or a series of events where Prosperians can come and pitch their business ideas and have those be integrated into both the Prosper Hub ecosystem with required resources and assets for those collectibles, but also have them integrated into the infrastructure of realty in Prosperia. So Prosperia that's why we're not anywhere near close to minting real estate on the starport, because it's just a whole different animal. So yes and no, not necessarily on the moon, but ultimately, yes, we would love for the community to be able to design interiors and design businesses and have those integrated into the zones on Prosperia.
We have a number of very talented and very capable people in the community, and as the community grows, so will that number of people who are not only willing but capable of contributing things like that. And much like I think it's the Pavia Builder, whatever it is. Like I would love to see and to build and to be a part of like that community outreach of helping people build the things they want to see in our universe. And I think that's a really unique way to maybe even connect with the factions. So, anything we can do to further tie these things in, further, deepen that connection between the project and the factions and the creation of assets and things like that. All of that is stuff we're interested in. So
yeah, another one that does that really well, and I don't have a dog in the fight because people either love this project or hate it, and that's Boss Cat Rocket Club. But you see a lot of that too. You see a lot of that. Again, I don't own it. I don't hate it. I don't, but it's just funny to me that if it gets mentioned in a server, it inevitably starts this war for whatever reason. But I've seen some amazing stuff out there built by the community designed by the community for that. And we definitely want to do that. But we also want to have our own unique spin on it too. So all in the cards.
Every day that BCRC does not rug and continues to like build partnerships and like drop things to their holders and stuff, I'm not gonna lie, they're building up a little bit of goodwill on my end. Like I was very skeptical at first. I remain very skeptical. I'm not a holder. I thought about buying some Vox just because I think they're cute, but I'm a sucker for like pixel art and voxel art and stuff like that. So that's not necessarily because I want to buy in and get exposure to the project. That's just because it's something that I like. Because I will often buy things that I just like. Weird, I know. But every day they're around, man, I'm more impressed that they haven't rugged the absolute bejesus out of everybody, because they've had several opportunities.
So true. Let's see. Life of Nay. It's going to be our last question. We're going to wrap it up. What's the mining resources in D4 about? Shrouded in mystery. That's my answer to that. That's my answer to that. So, all right, guys. Well, I'll let you all get back to minting in Discord. Kryptman, as always, this is the second time. As before, thank you so much for joining and co-hosting. We'll be seeing all of you so much more on YouTube, and very much looking forward to getting this channel up and running. Kryptman, enjoy the rest of your day and weekend. Sunday. Yeah, we still got a little bit of weekend.
Absolutely. And we've got marbles coming up. We'll do that in probably about 30 minutes here. So that'll come about probably 8 p.m. UTC for the folks who are out there in UTC time. 1 o'clock p.m. PST for everybody on West Coast America time. And that is a weekly thing. So for the VOD friends who that means nothing to, because you're watching this a week and a half later, on Sundays, we do marbles. So come by the server. It changes a little bit sometimes, but it almost always happens. So tune in. That's going to be a good time. We'll have a lot of fun.
All right, everybody.
It's always a good time doing this.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the next one. You guys have a good weekend. For those of you who's already Monday, have a great week, and enjoy the rest of the mint. Talk to you guys soon.